In light of what's been happening in the world, I had some questions for
Sure.
you about Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
How worried are you with freedom of speech and the First Amendment?
Well, I'm terrified. First of all, it's my commodity. It's what I do for a living. And when you think about Hollywood elitists or want to put us down using that moniker, remember that's their term. And there are a lot of people who would be put out of work without the First Amendment standing the way we need it to stand. Think of the history of the Johnny Carson show, the Ed Sullivan show, Saturday Night Live, 50 years. Whatever comedians you see at your local club. You don't want someone going to your local comedy club in Richmond, Virginia or Tulsa, Oklahoma and pulling someone off the stage because they said something that ideologically you don't agree with. That's not the country we are. It's not what's in the Constitution. And I feel that the First Amendment is not going to be in danger. I feel that the horse has already left the station.
I see. What message would you have for young comedians out there that have a voice? What would you tell them?
I would tell young comedians to go harder. I would say this is it. I have representatives that did not want me to do this event today. I have representatives that didn't want me to talk to you right now. I have lawyers that were calling me saying, keep your mouth shut. You went through something 8 years ago that was already unprecedented and historic in, for me, what was a very negative way. And yet it just made me want to be more outspoken because I've lived it. You know, I've been on the no-fly list and the Interpol list and the ISIS terror watch list, which is called the Five Eyes list. I'm a comedian. I mostly tell stories about the Kardashians. There's no place for me on the Interpol list. So when people say, if it could happen to me, it could happen to you, take it from me. It happened to me, and it will happen to you.
So comedians like George Carlin, Richard Pryor, what would they be saying today?
In my opinion, they would be going harder. And also you're talking about two comedic giants that were also bright. Most comics I know are very bright because it's part of our job to try to have as broad a base of knowledge about as many things as possible, because you never know what's going to be in the zeitgeist at any moment. So this week, for example, Jimmy Kimmel getting fired on a Wednesday in the middle of a business day, getting pulled from his office, having to be ushered out to his car so he could, go home, was something that I've never seen, never thought I would see in my lifetime. Not just because he and I are pals, and I've known him since he was the sports guy at K-Rock, the local channel here in Los Angeles. That's how long I've known Jimmy. And he was on a network show. So I'm not looking to make people the bad guy. I don't know Bob Iger. I don't know the FCC chair, Brendan Carr. I know he's a Trump appointee. I've seen quotes that he said this week alone, like, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And apparently what they did with Jimmy Kimmel was considered the hard way, and what they did with Stephen Colbert would be considered the easy way, because you can see the progression. I was the test case. I was the guinea pig. And I'm someone that the government tried to silence and stifle, and they did it. They kept me from working for 7 years. And I would put it to the average American that way and say, whether you love your job today or not, and maybe not everyone loves their job as much as I do, but to not have permission to work for 7 years because you said something that the President of the United States doesn't like, doesn't think is funny, offends his ego, whatever his thoughts were at that time. And then stirs up the Army, which is now the Cabinet of the United States, and I'm going to throw the Supreme Court in there as well. And I set it up there, and I'll say it again because I know it sounds tinfoil hat. I don't believe the current SCOTUS is legitimate. I believe they are compromised. I think that we who believe in democracy, left, right, or center, have to become more educated about Project 2025. Take a minute and read it. It takes a minute, but as we see our civil rights being stripped away in real time, you'll see they're doing exactly what they said they would do.
What would you tell the young generation?
And I would tell them to go harder, fight harder, and be vocal, and be an ideological consumer. And what I mean by that is, you can actually look up the companies that support certain causes. Now, not everyone is going to cancel their Disney subscription. You have kids, you want Disney, I understand that. But it's going to take some radical, galvanized action to make change, in my opinion. And of course, I'm talking about nonviolent action because that's what works. But I think it's going to be protesting, contacting these companies, they get scared off pretty easily. So I have found that you can actually scare a bully pretty easily. So I know it sounds arcane. Write a letter, send a postcard, make a phone call, go online, make a comment. Congresswoman Maxine Waters gave me the greatest compliment. I got to meet her and she said, I love that picture with you and Trump because you scared the shit out of him. And that's sometimes what a bully needs. A bully needs to be scared a little bit. And I've actually come back. I just finished the 75 city tour. I'm starting a new tour because one thing the government can't do is stop American people or whomever people want to buy a ticket to the Kathy Griffin show from just buying a ticket and coming to see me live. Will you see me on television again? Probably not, because I make too many enemies and I'm too outspoken. But you can come see me live, and that's how I ask.
My final question, if President Trump was in the room today, what would you say to him?
Go fuck yourself.